everybody. It's nice to see you here and on Zoom. We've got quite a few people who are with us virtually. So thank you all for joining me today for what will be my last State of the School address as President and Dean. There have already been many last time moments this year, and I know that there will be more before I step down at the end of June, and they are all bittersweet. It has been an incredible honor to serve in this role for the past 8 years. And while I may be stepping away from this role, you'll never get rid of me. I will never step away from Albany Law School. Albany Law School is a place where I began my career, a place that has time and again given me opportunities, allowing me to study here while birthing and raising 2 kids, allowing me to serve as the editor-in-chief for Law Review, giving me my first experience managing people in an organization, and welcoming me back as a professor and then in leadership roles. Throughout, I have been incredibly grateful to the law school and its people for all that have been afforded me. I've been honored, especially during this time as your president and dean, to have the opportunity to do what I can to lead this great institution. And as you assess where we are as a school and as I report on it, I hope you'll agree with me that we have so much to be proud of, both in the school and in its broader community. I'll share with you some of those pride points, and I will also talk about some of the challenges that we face. At the end of my presentation, I'll take your questions. I encourage you to ask whatever is on your mind. So I want to start by looking back to October 2014, which is when I stepped in as acting dean. Albany Law was in a really different place at that moment compared to where we are. For a whole number of reasons, the school felt under pressure. The incoming class size was only 117 students. Morale was low and we were struggling to get students jobs. It wasn't clear that we could survive as an independent law school given the significant financial pressures we were facing. This is in no way a knock on the people leading the school at the time or my wonderful faculty, board, and staff colleagues. Albany Law faced many of the same headwinds that law schools throughout the country faced, including declines nationally in law school enrollment and a very tough economy. The difference for us was that most law schools could lean on the resources of a state or a large university to make it through lean times. Schools like ours, schools that treasure their independence, struggled, with many having to close their doors or losing their accreditation. We went in a different direction, a positive one. It took a dedicated team of our faculty, trustees, staff, and administrative leaders to turn things around. In 2014, we had the benefit of being toward the end of a strategic planning process that set forth a roadmap for the school to survive and thrive. The plan focused us on preparing our students for successful careers as lawyers and leaders. It called for the creation of opportunity pathways in traditional areas of strength for Albany Law School, like government, business, litigation, and public interest, as well as new areas like health and innovation. It was a bold plan that set priorities and required a lot of hard work. We implemented more than 100 strategic initiatives to bring the plan to fruition. These initiatives strengthened our curriculum, built a strong financial base, and made Albany Law more attractive to those looking for meaningful legal careers. Did it work? I can stand here and say unequivocally, yes. Today, Albany Law School is a financially sound, academically innovative, forward-looking school for legal education. And that brings me to where we are today. And I'm going to start with our students. Our students are amazing. They're smart and driven and inspiring. They are the reason that we exist. And I'm happy to report that we are attracting some of the best and brightest students to our school. We're doing so by getting ahead of the curve innovating, and transforming ourselves to adapt to the ever-changing legal and social landscape. First, let's look at the JD class that just entered in 2022. It might very well be the strongest academic class in our history. We received 1,326 applications and yielded a class of 201 JD students. Our yield rate went up 10% in the last 7 years alone. The median LSAT for this class is 150. For those of you that 155. For those of you that keep track, that's a 4-point increase in the last 7 years, which is a dramatic and significant increase. Our median GPA rose from 3.23 to 3.48 over that same time frame. Again, a significant increase. More important, this hasn't been a one-time jump that we can attribute to some single external factor like COVID, but a sustained incremental improvement in the academic profile of the entering class. Also important, this highly qualified class is our most diverse class in multiple dimensions. As we all know, diversity of background, perspective, and experience makes us better able to serve our communities. 26% of our new JD class self-identify as racially or ethnically diverse. While I'd still like to see our population better reflect the communities that we serve, it's a great improvement from where we were just a few years ago when we were in the teens. More than 60% of our students identify as female. Our students are coming to us from throughout the world. The incoming class represented students from 21 states and territories and 9 countries. They're academically diverse as well. We attracted students from 96 different colleges and universities. They graduated with degrees in 45 different academic majors. As we expand Albany Law beyond the traditional JD-focused law school to something more, a law university or a graduate school with a number of degrees, the makeup of our student and alumni body is transforming as well. Almost 6 years ago, we launched our first fully online graduate program, offering an LLM, Master's in Science, and Advanced Graduate Certificate in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy. Today, we have 5 different program areas: cybersecurity, financial compliance and risk management, health law and health compliance, human resources law, leadership and policy, and government affairs and advocacy. These are flexible programs taught by some of the top people in their fields, and they're attracting students who bring unique perspectives and professional experience to our school. We have more than 60 students in these programs and more enrolling every couple of months. These Albany Law graduate students are fabulous, and they're part of our future. They're smart, working professionals who are enhancing their current careers with an Albany Law School education that they could not otherwise access were we not online. They come from around the world and put their master's degrees and LLMs to work in industry, business, and law firms. And just a quick side note about health law, one of our fastest growing online programs and a popular focus for our JD students. Albany Law received an A rating in the fall 2022 issue of Pre-Law magazine. We're one of only 15 law schools in the country to receive that rank. We're up there with top law schools from around the country in health law. I'm glad to report that for the JD program, we've returned to fully in-person teaching and learning, except for the handful of classes that we designed from the outset as online classes. We grew as an institution during the pandemic. It was painful growth at times, but we learned quite a bit. And as we've reflected and assessed what elements of remote law school we want to keep, I think we all have a deep appreciation for the teaching and learning we do in person, in our hallway conversations, and in those moments at the podium with your professor after class. We are thrilled to have seen the return of in-person lectures and extracurriculars, but we've also been thrilled to include alumni throughout the world in programs like today's. What may be surprising to some of you, but not to others, is that we've learned both through our carefully built online graduate classes and through our unexpected and challenging COVID-era response, that it is indeed possible to deliver an extraordinary and rigorous legal education virtually. When I talk about the future of the school, I will return to discuss the possibility of an alternative flexible model for Albany Law School. One of the things that's been really great about returning to in-person learning is the return to in-person client experiences for our students. One of the hallmarks of an Albany Law School education is the emphasis that we put on hands-on learning. We offered our first experiential learning class 50 years ago when two students, David Byer, class of 73, and James O'Rourke, class of 74, worked with Albany Mayor Erastus Corning and Albany Police Chief Edward McCardle to have a group of about 100 Albany Law School students accompany police patrols around the city. This led to the school establishing a permanent clinical program, and we've never looked back. Today, our students have an endless number of opportunities to get real-world experience through the Justice Center at Albany Law School, the Government Law Center, our field placement programs, our innovation intensive, semester in practice, litigation apprenticeship, pro bono scholars, and city semester programs. These opportunities further our mission by ensuring students are prepared for success in the profession by learning to practice law, by practicing law as students. The emphasis we put on practical training has not gone unnoticed. Albany Law School was recently granted an A+ rating for practical learning by Pre-Law Magazine, an A+, well-deserved. We're one of only 17 schools in the whole country to earn that rating. The emphasis on experiential learning does not just make a difference in the careers of our students. It is felt throughout the broader regional community. The 5 clinics of the Justice Center provide free legal services to underserved populations in our country and in our community, including low-income cancer, AIDS, and hospice patients, children and families, immigrants and refugees, and survivors of domestic and family violence. Just a few highlights from their work this past year include the following. Students, faculty, and staff within the Community Economic Development Clinic have begun working with farmers of color within the Capital Region to help them invest in their futures through buying or leasing land. The percentage of Black farmers in the US has dropped from 14 to only 2%. The Community Economic Development Clinic is providing the legal services these individuals and other entrepreneurs need to grow and sustain their businesses. The Immigration Law Pro Bono Society at Albany Law School was selected for a New York State Bar Association President's Pro Bono Service Award for its work assisting the United States Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, providing critical legal services to Afghan refugees in Albany County. The center's director, Professor Sarah Rogerson, was selected as one of 6 Richard P. Nathan Public Policy Fellows through the Rockefeller Institute of Government. The prestigious fellowship program seeks to connect cutting-edge policy expertise to public problems and the policy community that tries to address those problems. And last year, the class of 2022, a pandemic class, completed a record-breaking, and they documented this, a record-breaking 56,572 hours of pro bono and public service while they were students at Albany Law. That's an astonishing number when you realize especially that the class only had 165 members. The pro bono program is administered by the Justice Center. Not long ago, you might have heard someone refer to the Government Law Center as the hidden gem of Albany Law School. Well, it's hidden no more. Last year, leadership of the center was taken over by 2 incredibly talented and dynamic alumni, Judge Leslie Stein, class of '81, who retired from her role as an associate judge on the New York Court of Appeals and came on board as the center's director. She was joined by Patrick Woods, class of 2012, in the role of deputy director. Patrick came to us from the Solicitor General's office. Judge Stein and Patrick Woods have taken what was already a vital organization that serves as a bridge between the government and academia and is quickly transforming it to a go-to resource for those in state government. In the last year, the GLC has released comprehensive explainers on such diverse legal and policy issues as fantasy sports in New York, name, image, and likeness rights for student athletes, supported decision-making agreements, and a ballot proposal on monetary lawsuits. They partnered with the New York State Bar Association's Elder Law and Special Needs Section Committee on long-term care facility reform and launched an online long-term care legal resources library. The GLC began a new program that helps legislators understand new court cases. This interbranch communications project gives students extraordinary research and networking opportunities with the potential of making a direct and tangible impact on New York law. The driving force behind our success continues to be our faculty. We've seen some faculty take on new and challenging administrative responsibilities this year. After decades of service, our steadfast and incredibly talented Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Connie Mayer, stepped down for deanship and returned to full-time teaching. I have to tell you that I've never seen Connie, Professor Mayer, look happier and more relaxed. She's just thrilled to be back in the classroom. Filling Dean Mayer's shoes as our new Associate Dean for Academic Affairs is Rosemary Queenan. Dean Queenan had served for 8 years as Associate Dean for Student Affairs and was more than ready for the new responsibility as the law school's chief academic officer. She's committed, thoughtful, and smart, and already making a difference for our students and our academic programs. Keith Hirakawa has stepped into the position of Associate Dean for Research and Scholarship. A prolific and important scholar himself, Dean Hirakawa is motivating, supporting, and inspiring our faculty as we work to produce impactful and meaningful scholarship. And Janine Taranto is our new Associate Dean for Student Affairs. Dean Taranto was chosen following a national search, standing out as a leader who has excellent judgment and a deep abiding commitment to student success. We're lucky to have Deans Queenan, Hirakawa, and Taranto joining an already strong leadership team for this school. We've also been lucky to welcome a number of new and visiting faculty members in 2022. The new permanent members of our faculty are Nina Farnia, Assistant Professor of Law, who comes to us from the University of California, Davis School of Law. As a civil rights litigator, Professor Farnia was on the legal teams for 2 cases that reached the Supreme Court. Jonathan Rosenblum is an internationally recognized environmental law scholar who leads cutting-edge work on sustainability. Professor Rosenblum visited us last year, and we were able to persuade him to stay. And Dan Balana has taken over the important task of bar success. You can read about these faculty members and the outstanding core of 6 new visiting faculty on the slide behind me and also on our website. These new faculty members join an already strong faculty. At Albany Law, our faculty care about our students. They care about teaching, and they care about producing scholarship, and they care about discussing ideas that matter. Our faculty is among the hardest working and most committed of any law school faculty. And I'm certain that if you ask any one of our students about the strengths of the school, they will talk to you about the faculty who inspire and push them. I want to take a moment to talk about our alumni. I can honestly say I would not be here today were it not for the unwavering support of our alumni. Our alumni network is strong. Many of you are here today, especially in the Zoom room. Thank you for being here. You supported us financially in the completion of our historic $33 million We Rise Together campaign that helped us grow our endowment from about $64 million when I became president and dean to a peak of $85 million in 2022. We've nearly doubled our annual fund. We've created dozens of new scholarships and launched a new wellness program and a women's leadership initiative. Thanks in large part to alumni support, we've also endowed the Peter M. Pryor 54 Scholarship, aimed to grant scholarships to diverse students. Peter Pryor was a giant in the legal and civil rights field in Albany. And we created the John P. D. Matteo Scholarship this year. This scholarship was led by the support of Bill Poulos, class of '80, and will serve as a reminder of a longtime and much beloved law school employee. And alumni support goes well beyond the financial. There are so many ways that you give back. You mentor our students. You do mock interviews. You discuss your careers, guest lecture in classes, and hire Albany Law grads. Our students know that they have a strong alumni network to help them get internships and jobs when they graduate. In fact, the most recent placement rate for the last class that was measured is 91%. That puts us among the top law schools, not just in New York, but in the country. For those of you who didn't see it, I suggest you watch the speech by our recent alumnus in residence, Damian Granderson, class of '03. The speech is on our website. Damian's life story, which he shared with our students and all of us, is truly inspiring. Well, most of this report is positive, as it should be. Albany Law is in a strong position with a positive outlook. We're not without our challenges. Like everyone else, we are facing inflationary cost increases that make budgeting a challenge. Our students are facing financial pressure and are rightly reluctant to take on enormous debt. As a result, we have to budget smartly, making hard strategic choices. We need to diversify our revenue streams so we have a cushion in lean times. While we've made tremendous strides in employment rate and bar outcomes over the past many years, our recent graduates struggled with the bar exam. After reaching the high to mid 80s for several administrations of the bar exam, we fell back to the 70s this time. This is a challenge we have to address. And the faculty and students and I are committed to doing what it takes to making the adjustments we need to achieve that success. Already, the faculty held an all hands on deck meeting with the graduating students to advance that work. Another challenge ahead is preparing for the demographic shifts in the college age population. With what is being described as a demographic cliff in New York and the Northeast, we cannot rely on graduates of New York colleges to fill seats at Albany Law. We must build a law school and an admissions network that attracts students from around the country and the world. Doing so requires honest introspection and a willingness to change. So where are we going? Even as we endured the pandemic, we've worked hard to get ahead of these pending challenges. We did so through a robust strategic planning process that resulted in our newly adopted strategic plan, From Innovation to Opportunity. The new plan was developed by a planning team of staff, faculty, alumni, and board members. The process was led by Professor Ray Brescia and trustees Dan Grossman, class of 1978, and Andrea Colby, class of 1980. The plan is a roadmap for a thriving Albany Law School. It builds on our strengths, proposes strategies to meet new challenges, and anticipates opportunities. I encourage everyone to go to the website and read the full plan. In brief, the plan rests on three pillars: impact, innovation, and inclusion. And you'll find these pillars woven throughout the plan and into each of the individual goals. The plan respects Albany Law School's over 170-year history while preparing the school for new challenges that lay ahead. The first goal of the plan calls for ensuring that each student graduates with a set of what we're calling transformational competencies. Working with folks in industry and law firms, we identified 15 competencies that will make our graduates successful lawyers and leaders in a market that is rapidly changing due to technology, artificial intelligence, and outsourcing. We will still ensure our students learn to think like lawyers and to communicate effectively, but we will do more to keep our graduates competitive and sought after. We will ensure graduates attain competence in project management, self-reflection and assessment, collaboration and teamwork, cross-cultural understanding, and the capacity for consensus building, among other things. The second goal is innovation across the curriculum. Like our graduates, Albany Law School needs to be able to navigate a changing world. While there are many challenges to being an independent law school, there are real advantages as well. One of those advantages, and what I would argue has been our greatest strength throughout history, is the ability to be agile and innovate. This goal brings focus to that strength and will manifest in a number of ways. First, expanding and further refining the creation of a graduate school for the study of law. Simply put, this means expanding beyond our traditional JD offerings and building and supporting our online master's, LLM, and advanced certificate programs, offerings that we will continue to grow. Second, we're exploring the possibility of an alternative pathway to a JD, one that will be accessible to working professionals and others who cannot relocate to Albany to study at Albany Law. A Flex JD task force has begun the work, hoping to launch a JD program that includes online and on-site components in 2024. Not only will such a program address the coming demographic cliff, if successful and well-designed, and it will be well-designed, this program will allow our school to provide a new group of students, a rigorous academic program worthy of Albany Law School's name. Third, we will continue to encourage and support our faculty in their efforts to create new and innovative academic offerings. We've already seen this already with the inclusion of first-year seminar electives that began in 2021. The seminars give students some choice in their first-year curriculum. A fourth example of innovating across the curriculum is seeking out new and more effective teaching methodologies that take advantage of cutting-edge legal and teaching technology. And finally, we need to continue to innovate in our scholarship. Our faculty are doing outstanding research and thoughtful analysis. We need to continue to do all we can to help advance and amplify their work as thought leaders and innovators in their areas of expertise. The plan's third goal is what makes Albany Law School stand out from its competitors: our unwavering commitment to our students and their professional success. For Albany Law School, student-centeredness includes providing exemplary, individualized academic and career advisement, prioritizing diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging throughout our community, leading in wellness programming and support, promoting a culture of respect that fosters professionalism, civility, and kindness, and developing community-wide capacity for self-reflection and self-critique. In short, this means never forgetting why we're all here: to serve our students and help them develop into talented, respected, and ethical leaders in the legal profession. We can only achieve this by ensuring that every student feels a sense of belonging and inclusion in our classrooms and in our programming. Our work on this goal has begun in earnest. This summer, Our incredible deans of diversity and inclusion and admissions teamed up to create a pre-orientation program for first-generation law students. As part of the work of assessing our current climate to plan for a better future, we learned that many of our most welcome first-generation law students, including but not limited to first-generation law students of color, arrived to law school without a good understanding of our expectations. They didn't know about law review or what successful students did to prepare. They didn't know what it really took to brief and understand a case. Our new program changed that, creating a cohort with connections to first-generation alums, to faculty, to mentors. The work continues, but the program is a great start toward creating the kind of institution that will attract the best students from around the country and give all who choose us the opportunity to succeed here. I've been asked to address some of the commitments made in the student-centeredness section of the plan. In the preamble to that section, the law school recommits to fighting discrimination in all forms. It also goes further, committing to setting a deliberate goal of building and sustaining a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community to address specific forms of discrimination that have historically affected the legal profession in particular. To that end, we commit to taking active steps, including but not limited to promoting anti-racism, gender justice, and disability equity. What do these commitments mean, particularly the commitment to anti-racism? They mean that we as a school are committed to actively recognizing and opposing racism when we see it in our own policies, our own classrooms, and our own systems, and advocating for change. In short, Albany Law School is dedicated to fighting discrimination in all its forms and will work to prepare our graduates to do the same. I'm proud to be a part of that effort. As part of its commitment to student-centeredness, the plan for some physical changes, the plan calls for some physical changes to the campus, including an initiative that is near and dear to my heart. Some of you may be sick of hearing me talk about this. That is creating a new student center and community commons. Most of you know, and our alumni, I think you probably remember that the heart of the 1928 building is occupied by a cafeteria that looks the same as it did in 1950. It's outdated and rather uninviting. We're in the process of reimagining this space into a modern, comfortable, attractive, and practical space where students can gather and study and collaborate. The Student Center and Commons will be a place for the entire community, faculty, staff, and alumni to hold events, network, and learn from one another. The new offering will attract applicants, improve learning, and grow community. We're in the early phases of this. We're in the design phase of what the space will look like. We know that we need soft seating for students to relax and study. We need multi-use space and rooms for collaborative learning, sharing, group work, and events. We would like technology-infused spaces, a fireplace to warm up on those cold winter days, and a place to share a coffee and a meal. We also hope to create a more seamless connection to our courtyard to allow greater use of that space as well. This will not be an easy process. There's a lot of square footage to work with, which is good, but there's also a lot of concrete infrastructure that will be a challenge. To ensure the plan is a success, we're going to need to be creative in seeking financial support. We'll look for funding from all sources. But without question, we will need the support of our entire Albany Law community, especially our alumni and those willing to give back and pay forward the place that launched our careers. Finally, the future will include a new leader. Fresh leadership is good for an organization, especially when the new leader comes into an organization ripe with positive momentum. While it's happening behind the scenes now, the search for our next president and dean is happening. It's ongoing. I'm told we will have news about next steps in December and January. And I, for one, am very optimistic that we will have a great next president and dean. Albany Law School is a special place. It's one that cares deeply about our students, our graduates, and our community. It is a place determined always to improve continuously, to try new things, and to recommit to what has worked for the thousands of graduates that launched their careers because Albany Law gave them an opportunity and an outstanding education. As I walk the halls of our school every day, I'm just in awe of the work that's being done here by our faculty, our staff, and our students. And when I eventually hand over the reins to a new leader, I do so confident that Albany Law is strong and vibrant. As an institution, we are as or more relevant and important as we have been at any time in our storied history. I've said many times that the Albany Law School community is really a family. And I'm proud to have been and continue to be a part of that family. Thank you all for being here in person and virtually today. And thank you for your support and dedication to Albany Law School. Thank you. Questions? Anyone in the room? I talked for a long time, so. Anything on?
Mayor wanted to express her thanks for your noticing how much she's being.
So Dean Mayer is happy. That's a good one. Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the plan does call on us to build on our strengths, and it really builds on the last plan, which was all like jobs, 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 right? So now we're able to say, okay, we're going to do more than that. We're going to look beyond, we're going to grow in different ways, grow our faculty, grow our building, grow all these things, and grow our students in new ways. And absolutely growing our connections to government. We see so many of our students go out and become prosecutors. They go into public service of various forms, state government, federal government, clerkships, all kinds of ways in which we see that. And so we will absolutely sort of double down. And I think the plan envisions that and supports that. Thank you.
Been an extended period of leadership. I didn't make this.
Okay. Ben has to say nice things.
They're asking, is there anything in particular that you're proud of?
I'm proud we made it. And I'm always just, so commencement, I cry with joy as the students walk around. I mean, I'm so proud of our students and our alumni. I'm proud of our faculty and the way that we came together through hard times and really dug in and showed up. I'm proud of pandemic. I think if Pre-Law magazine isn't rating pandemic law schools, but if they did, we definitely get an A+, I think. And that was because of the people. Everyone did what we needed to do. And it wasn't easy. Got some faculty who are in the room who, had students online, students in front of them, dealing with COVID days and quarantines, and persisted, right? Persisted, showed up every day and did what we needed to do. And I think that as a community, we should take great pride in that. No one wants to talk about COVID anymore. I'm teaching a class this year, and I offered, I see one of my students is here. So I offered a bunch of topics. I'm having them do group presentations. And one of them was COVID justice not one student signed up. They were like, we are done. We'd much rather do something else. So, it took a toll. I think it took a toll on all of us, but I think we've come through. And I do think that as we look back and reassess and think about what are the best things to come out of pandemic, there are best things. And there are ways in which we are better or strong. We may feel scarred by it, but we got through it. Anyone else?
Thank you very much.
Can you press, is there a little button in front of you? It helps for the people on Zoom.
This is what I have to tell
You know
my
how long
students
it's
all
been?
the-
With
50
Dean-
years.
With Dean Hessen. How good is that, right? It looks about the same. No. I just want to thank you for your support of the Government Law Center, Dean. I mean, we've reached a new platform. We've taken off a new direction, but it would not have happened without your support and your recruitment of Judge Stein. And the addition of Patrick has just been invaluable. So we made a lot of new connections, and the reputation of the law school is very, very high in the government circles in Albany. So we really appreciate that help. So thank you very much. You won't be that relieved when you leave, will you?
I couldn't hear that last part.
We learned about one of the deans who's very relieved that she's no longer a dean.
I'm
I
gonna look
suspect that
10
they share
years
that
younger.
feeling. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And the Government Law Center really is, it's our crown jewel. It's a very, very special place. Thank you for your support of GLCPJ. Anyone else?
We did have a question about the Flex program.
Okay.
Could you what is that? Could you tell us,
Yeah,
share us a little more?
So it's a little bit of a work in progress. There are 11 law schools around the country right now that have jumped into having an online component, and it's in different forms in their JDs. This would be something completely in addition to, not taking the place of our in-person program. Our in-person program, we produce New York lawyers. We're going to keep doing that. But we have the opportunity to bring in students that wouldn't come here otherwise, because they have jobs or families and they can't relocate. So what we are looking at is what will be the best quality education. We know that classes that are designed to be online, not what we went through in COVID, where we sort of made it up as we went along, but the purposefully built online classes can be really excellent. We anticipate having a fully fledged proposal that we'll share with the faculty, we'll share with the board, we'll get all our approvals. We're going to have to probably go to the ABA. So there's a lot of steps. So at this point, it's just a possibility, but it's one that I think is really exciting. And I think that we are really well suited to having this kind of program. We got ahead in online education by building our graduate school. And we learned an awful lot about what an excellent, well-designed online course looks like. I think we, at least on the committee, I'm part of the task force, we all agree that you need to do some things in person. So we will be bringing our Flex JD, hypothetical Flex JD students to the law school to do some intensives, to work on some of the professional development and whatnot that we feel it really needs to happen in person and create cohorts. But we're excited. So stay tuned on the details on that. We're working pretty hard, hoping to have a proposal as soon as December, with the goal of not really admitting we're going to get approvals and then build the whole thing and hire faculty, all of that. So that we would be admitting our first class for August of 2024.
I have just two more messages. They're not really questions. There's just some thank yous in here. One's from the Honorable Joanne Winslow, and this thank you. And what are you looking forward to most in the future for the law school? We talked about it a little bit, but among those things, do you have a favorite?
Well, the thing I fantasize about is my student center. I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I do think it would really dramatically change the, we're gonna need to really branch out to make that happen. But I think it's the continuation of what we've always done, which is bringing in great students, listening, learning, pushing, figuring out cool ways to teach and ways to support each other as a community. So it's much of the same. I don't know that I have a specific thing that I'm really looking forward to beyond that, but those are real and I mean them. All right, anyone in the room? All right, well, thank you all for being here and thank you for supporting our law school, being part of the law school. And that's it. All right, thanks.